Hi everyone, welcome to this Ask Bess show. How to build spiritual muscle. We know that fitness is important, right? To be fit in life physically, emotionally, mentally, and spiritually, because it helps us to live happier, better, more effective lives. So what does that mean, spiritual muscle? Well, I'll share with you what it means to me and what I've been learning lately that has smoothed out my life and helped my life a lot. So if you're watching the replay, please type in replay because I'd like to thank you for that. I also like to hear where you're watching from. So the Ask Bess show is here every Saturday and Sunday at noon Eastern Time, Facebook Live, and it's a place where you can ask questions. Either here, you can private Facebook message me a question if you'd like to be more anonymous, and it could be about any questions. Of course, my niche is network marketing, coaching and supporting network marketing women. Also called the Shrink of MLM, but the Ask Bess show could be for any issue or question, has to do with, could be network marketing, career, job, families, relationships, communication, health, weight loss, even spiritual fulfillment. So welcome, Dani, and welcome, Lysol. Glad to see you. How are you? It's been a long time. How are you, Lysol? So welcome. Glad you're here. My message: you matter. I hear you. I'll respond. There's a solution to every problem, and you're bigger than any problem before you. The solution is always within reach, and you don't have to do it alone. I'll help. After I cover the topic today, I will share with you my real conversations process to move from self-help process to move from problem to solution in minutes. So I'm glad to do that. I'm going to invite a few people. You're welcome too. Thank you. I am welcome. I'm glad to be here and sit with you today. This is important to me, to be with you, to share this time, to hear your questions and to hear your tips. So this is a place where you can leave tips and insights along the line of the spiritual topic as well. Hello, Kim. Welcome. So glad to see everybody here. So I'm going to invite a few people to join us today. And while I do that, I could talk a little bit about the topic and who I am, why I think I'm qualified to share with you about it. I am a holistic health practitioner, body-mind therapist for over 30 years, and a counselor and coach. And I've helped hundreds of people, especially network marketers, break through blocks, break through fears, negative beliefs, and be all that they are meant to be in this lifetime. And to feel fulfilled, to lead this life knowing that you came here to do what you are meant to do, to fill out your shoes, I'll say. That's what I help people do. And to be happy, to make their life work, physically, emotionally, mentally, spiritual. That's why I'm a holistic health practitioner. For 15 years, I trained body-mind therapists, which is essential of counselors and therapists, at Body Mind College in San Diego. And this was one of the world's greatest places when it was going on, one of the world's greatest places to do this body-mind work. I'm also a minister, mother, Reiki master, neuromuscular therapist, inner child therapist, author, speaker. Most of all, I care. And second of all, I do my work. I work on myself, and that's important to be able to help another person. I can only help somebody as far as I have gone myself, right? So it's important to do my work daily, my personal growth work, because we all face challenges. So I'm inviting people here while I'm speaking here. I'll be back with you in a minute and give you my eye contact here. But it's important when we work with a therapist or coach to choose somebody that does their work. We all face challenges every day, and that is how we grow. It can be delicious. Even though it can be painful at the same time, because we celebrate the growth that happens in the meantime. And so I'm going to talk a little bit about that today. Okay, so that's enough. And thank you, everybody, for jumping on. Welcome, Mihai. Glad to see you. Welcome, Michael. How is everybody today? Where are you watching from? Like to hear that. So also, if you are wanting to develop some spiritual muscle today and figure what that means, please type in yes. Reiki master, yep, all that. Over 37 years of being able to acquire training and to do these things and to train other people to do these things as well. So it's all part of the holistic healing that I love so much. Part of, physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, how those all integrate. I love this stuff. So spiritual fitness, how to build spiritual muscle, and why to. Why do we want to build physical muscle? When we look at fit people, we get a sense, well, they're disciplined, right? They can order their body. They choose a strong and flexible, hopefully flexible and fit body that's capable. They bring health. They exercise. They use their body. That's one of the precepts of physical health is to be fit in our life so that we can move through life the way that we want to, as strong as we want to. I'm lifting weights right now so that when I go and see my grandchild in San Diego, I live in Kansas, and when I go to see her, like several times a year, that I keep up with her weight and I can lift her, and I'll be used to, I'll be strong and fit as a grandma. I'll be able to lift her. But also I just love walking a lot and being strong enough to be capable in my life. So I love fitness and health. And Jean, how are you, Jean? Thank you for being on. Says, love your videos, have to leave. Okay, catch you on the replay then. Thank you for popping in and saying hi. That means a lot to me. And each of you do. Okay, so being spiritually fit, what does that mean? And building spiritual muscle. Well, I'm going to relate that to relationships today, because relationships is where we grow, isn't it? When we're alone, we don't get challenged a whole lot, but it can be relationships is really where the growth happens. Would you agree with me? Please type in it or send a thumbs up if you agree with that. Relationships could be family, friends, mate, children, parents, co-workers. In network marketing, it could be your team, your upline, your prospects, your customers, your distributors. So it's all about relationships, and we run into these glitches where they think, oh, that isn't easy, and maybe I should leave this, should I leave this relationship, or could I, we see immediately the human in us seeks to do the easy thing, to leave or avoid or not talk about it. We immediately want to do the easy thing to relieve the discomfort of whatever we ran across. But actually, whatever we run across is inside, right? We're always facing ourselves. People are just a mirror to us. That's what my experience is anyway. And hello, Dawn. How are you, my dear? How's your family? Dawn, I'm going to be in San Diego March 24th to 31st. Want to let you guys know on the chance that you might might be in town or could be in town. Love to see you guys and meet Torin for the first time. Torin's birthday is tomorrow, the 25th, 26th. Happy birthday, and I want to talk with you about that. Okay, family. I'm talking about relationships right now, and there a family member pops on. So Dawn is a real fun person to follow on Facebook. Dawn McCarty. And sort of a daughter-in-law to me. So thank you for popping on. So, but relationships is where we run into these glitches. Things can happen to us, and we go, well, that person wasn't very fair or nice or right? And we often want to either avoid them or avoid the situation, or we want to retaliate in kind. Those are the two human, lower self-human urges right away, to either protect or withdraw, or to protect by lashing out and defending or giving them the same treatment back that we got. But you've heard that phrase, haven't you? I'd rather be loving than right. Like yesterday, I found myself wanting to defend myself with someone. And when I was doing that, I was not focusing on the good of the person. I could not be giving to them in that moment, that I was focusing on arguing why I was right or blameless or something like that. So whenever I catch myself defending myself afterward, I thought, okay, I could have shifted to focus on what is best for the person rather than that I want to be seen in a good light, or I want to be seen blameless, or I want to be understood, or any of that stuff. I want to correct the person's wrong thinking of me if they thought I was made a mistake or did something wrong, I want to correct that. So whenever I'm doing that, I'm not thinking of them or being of service to them. I can't do both at the same time. Maybe I can't be happy and loving and right at the same time. And I posted a cute little post the other day that said, if you're trying to choose between being kind and right, choose kind, and you'll be right every time. All right, find a way to be kind. You've heard the saying, I love the saying, is it true, is it necessary, is it kind? And I thought, that kind part might be the hardest part for me to follow. Remember to be kind to a person, not to be short with them, not to judge them. Because I know when I judge somebody, I'm also judging myself in the same line. And I know someone who said, gee, I wish I didn't judge people who are overweight. And that person was not overweight. But if they were, they would be judging themselves. So they judge overweightness, right? And that keeps them in a trap that if they dare to be overweight, they would be judging themselves, or they are anyway, right? So any judgment really does work against us. And welcome, Muhammad. And computer problems would like to catch the replay. Same with Kim. Okay, catch you on the replay, Kim. And welcome, Heather. Glad you're here. So glad to see everybody. Hey, by the way, if you know someone who can use this, some people tag other people so that they can be hearing it at the same time, and some people share this in other Facebook groups. I guess personal spiritual growth would be appropriate for today, even though sometimes they talk about network marketing. And welcome, Nikki. How are you, dear? Wow, good to see you. So it's about spirituality. Do any of you have some insights about how you stay spiritually fit? I'm giving my tips right now about trying to say, is it true, is it necessary, is it kind? When it might be hard for me to be kind to that person. It might be hard for me to see their viewpoint. So what I do is I take a little breath. I just take a breath before I speak. And I see what would be the kind thing to say, or what would love do now? What would love say now or do now? And when it's hard to, that's when we're gaining spiritual muscle. When it's easy and I'm in a good mood and the person's treating me like I want them to treat me, that's when it's easy. I'm not gaining spiritual muscle at that time, am I? But when it's tough, when life has added some extra weights to the bar that I lift by challenging me, maybe I haven't gotten a lot of sleep the night before, maybe I'm tired, maybe I've got other things that just happened to me, or that person has a bad hair day themselves and isn't treating me like I would like them to. That's when I develop spiritual muscle. When it takes a little extra to reach for, how do I be kind? How do I respond kind? And if I can't, it's okay to say, I'm not feeling my best right now. Let me respond to that later. I've done that. I've been angry at somebody. I said, just a minute. I went in the next room and I grounded that anger by breathing and standing in the horse stance. It's where it's a Tai Chi Qigong posture where you stand with your feet a little bit farther apart, bend your knees, make sure you're breathing deep into your belly, because that grounds the energy. Just like lightning can ground into the earth with a lightning rod where it becomes harmless, right? A lightning rod on a house takes the lightning and sends it into the Mother Earth where it neutralizes the energy. The ground neutralizes the energy. And I imagine myself doing that when I stood in the horse stance. And with my legs, I, reached into the earth like it was the roots of a tree to feel Mother Earth and feel the grounding. And it did. It neutralized my anger in just minutes. And then I could walk back in the next room and say something to that person that was not destructive, that could help the situation. It's okay to take a time out. And that time out could be a moment. It could be, a breath. It could be minutes like it was for me, but I've had it be like days with a family member where I needed to take a few days before I get back. Some people, it's years. Give them that space if they need to distance from you and find their center. Because guess what? It's never about you. Don't ever take it personally. And in return, don't let me not blame another person and think they're the cause of my unhappiness. I am always the cause. And I love that saying that when you get to the top of when you experience the Zen at the top of the mountain, that's the Zen that you brought with you. It's always an inside job. Wherever I go, there I am, right? So Mihai left some words. If you ask me who I am, I'll ask you where am I. And thank you, Mihai. I'm going to read this all later because you always leave such deep, beautiful things. So follow Mihai and check out what he's saying below. And who else has a tip of how to be loving rather than right? How to choose to be kind or loving rather than right, even when it's hard. I'd love to hear your tips. I'd love to hear your comments. Have you ever experienced this? Has it ever been hard for you? How did you make that shift? How did you remember to reach for love rather than just react? Saw a movie last night about a couple ready to get a divorce, but instead they chose to reach for doing kind things for each other. And it took a couple of months for this all to work out and iron out, for a transformation to happen to where they happily made a loving commitment, and they're really glad that they did. Zig Ziglar said he thought of leaving his marriage, but he thought, wait a minute, let me try this thing. Let me be grateful. Let me find something that she does that I like and I appreciate and thank her for it. And she started doing a little more of it. And he started finding other things that he could thank her for, and she started doing more of those. And pretty soon he didn't feel like he needed to leave the marriage. So that gratitude, right? One person can begin to turn the tide, and then it can begin to reflect, or it can go the other way too. It's really our choice, isn't it? And Heather Moore says, I tell myself if it were easy, everyone would do it and gain strength in that. Yeah. That reminds me, Heather, if you've heard of that saying, anything worthwhile is uphill. Anything worth anything takes work and effort. That's the price that we pay. And we do value it more, and we notice it more, and we cherish it more than if it were just given freely, right? If it were easy, everyone would do it. Even in your business, calling people, if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it. So thank you for your tips. One more tip that I have is that, guess what? I don't do it for the person. I do it for God. That might be a word that you use or don't use. You can substitute another word if another one works better for you. But I'll just use God because that is a word that most people relate to. Most people do. And so I do it for God, my relationship with God, my relationship with myself. I do it for how I feel for coming from a place of love rather than retaliation or anger or avoidance. I feel better inside. I get a good feeling goes on in my being and in my consciousness. I become happier when I respond with love than with anything else, with judgment and criticism and blame or avoidance or even lashing back at the person. So I'm doing it first of all for me, God, my relationship with God. There's a therapist named Pat Allen. She says, don't do it for the person because we're all human. None of us, deserve unconditional love. She said, do it for the marriage. And of course, the marriage is an entity that nourishes both people. So ultimately, it's a selfish act. I'm doing it because of how good I feel from doing that. In other words, I'm doing it for my relationship inside, or my relationship with God. So, and Heather says, yes. You like that? That's the bigger picture, the reason that I do it. And hopefully the other person does the same with me, and then we're both good inside. So even a Buddhist, try to read this a little better. Even a Buddhist friend of mine once taught me, we believe if you cheat, you only cheat yourself. Right. It's the same thing, like my golden rule. Yeah. So whatever we do, we have to live with. We have to live with that inside, don't we? And can I live with that? Before I do a thing, ask myself, can I live with that? Can I live with myself if I do this thing? Or if I neglect someone, can I live with that? If I were to leave a relationship that could have worked, can I live with that? Will that be okay? Because I carry it with me. Thanks, Heather. So I promise to share with you, and keep leaving the comments. I want to keep reading them. I want to keep hearing your tips, how you build spiritual muscle. These are mine today, for today. I want to hear yours. And while you do that, I would like to share about my Real Conversations process. It's how to move from problem to solution in minutes. It is a 4-step process. I share this, some free tools that you can get at the Facebook event, Real Conversations class. You can find that there, these free tools, and about the class too. But basically, the tools boil down to one thing, that every problem is a sign of an unmet need. So how does this apply to what we're talking today? Well, like the guy who wanted to leave the marriage or was ready to give up. They were both really ready to give up on the marriage. So their need under that was a problem, right? Because they both preferred to have a happy marriage. And so the need under that was not only love, to learn to love each other, to learn what real love is. I guess it's the love, yeah, to learn what real love is. But they couldn't learn what real love is for each other until they learned to love themselves. And in the movie, it was a spiritual movie, so it was about loving God, healing your relationship with God, and then you could give that to the partner and the person. But that they said that had to come first. And for me, that's what I also experience. I have to develop and clean up and elevate and upgrade this relationship with myself and with God before I can love another person. Just like in the airline, you put on your own oxygen mask first before you help a child or another, right? So that's the need. The need was to develop a divine relationship and to upgrade that, to make that better. Then they had more to give their partner. So that's one example of how a problem is always a sign of an unmet need. And I have more examples in my Real Conversations tools, and you can get those at the Facebook event. It's past, but you can get the tools there and learn about the class, Real Conversations class. And I will post a link below. So be glad to have you. Let's see, some comments that people have said about the classes and about Real Conversations. Kind of touching, kind of humbling. But this is what John Sweat said. He said, "This work with Bess is powerfully effective. If I truly desire to get the root of the unseen drivers of the patterns running my life, or maybe wrecking it, this is the most direct method I've come across. In my own journey, I've used several other methods, and this is the one I recommend first to anyone willing to take responsibility for their own life and engage the inner work of self-understanding." So thank you for that, John, and thank you to you and all the people here who are doing your personal growth work, who are courageous enough to face yourself and even courageous enough to ask for help when needed. I hope the tools help you. If you want a little more, there's the class on Tuesday nights. This is a dial-in coaching class, not recorded for privacy. You can use a different name and come on under a different name if you want to be anonymous. And you can learn from others or bring a coaching issue yourself. This is every Tuesday night. It's very affordable, more affordable than private coaching, but many people would prefer private so that they can move faster. And I'm available for that too. I especially love supporting and coaching network marketing women because I have been one full-time, helped me raise my son as a single mom. And I understand what the many hats and challenges that can come up, including self-care, accountability, being overwhelmed, needing someone to talk to, figuring things out when maybe you can't talk with anyone else in your organization, but you can talk with a confidential person outside that can help with some of the issues that you face. So this is what I love doing. I'm here for you. And any other comments or questions before we go? Even after we go, you can certainly keep the conversation going. I'll come back and hear what you have to say and respond to. So thank you all for being here. Thank you, Heather, and everyone on here who might, if you're still on here, why don't you put a a thumbs up so I know that, or an emoji or hello or something so I know you're still on. Love to know that if you stayed with me. Congratulations. These are kind of long lives. Appreciate you. You can find them on YouTube, find the replays on Facebook, and past replays on my Facebook page, Bess McCarty. So, here every Saturday and Sunday at noon Eastern Time on the weekends. Love to have you. Let's get together. This can be our little gathering that we have. Okay, everybody take care, and thank you for sharing. We'll see you Saturday. Bye-bye.